Okay, my friends, I am so grateful for other people who make videos like this. And this is part of what helps me to stay motivated, or not motivated. I'm totally motivated to make videos. I love making videos. But sometimes it helps me to get over my, am I dumb for making these videos? When I see other people's videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank fucking God you made this video, because it makes me feel so much more sane, and it makes such a difference in my life. So if I can do that for one other person, then I'm so grateful. Okay, so what am I particularly so grateful for today is there's a really great creator. I think her channel is called Mom on the Spectrum, and I just will put a link to it in the description. Okay, so the title for this video she made, I'm not going to get the title exactly right, but something like, my brain doesn't work when anybody else is in the house. And I have just been going through this gut-wrenching thing for the past several weeks around, we adopted a puppy. This was something that was my kid's dream for his entire life. He's 13, and I had told him if we ever live in a house, then we can get a puppy, because our landlord didn't allow dogs. So we did get a house, and so I promised him we would get a puppy when we got the house. And I had previously had a cat, and the cat was a very aggressive cat and was scary to the kids, scary to me, and eventually after 4 years I gave up. I couldn't figure out how to live with the cat and feel safe. And so we found another home for the cat. So I had been through that. But my impression was, from being a really avid watcher of The Dog Whisperer, I loved Cesar Millan when I was young. I thought, if you train a dog can be great. So we got a dog. And I went to the puppy class. I read 3 Cesar Millan books. I watched Cesar Millan on repeat. I did all of the things. And this dog was excellent. Excellently behaved dog, okay? Gold star dog. Amazing little dog. Just so sweet. Barked occasionally, but was easily redirected. Jumped up on people, but only because I couldn't get all of the kids to not respond to the jumping, so they reinforced it. But in a sweet, happy way. Just incredible dog, okay? And I watched my mental health go steadily down over the past several months. And I thought it was first I was okay, it's perimenopause. I'll get another, adjust my hormones again. I'll get another supplement. I'll do more of my exercise, meditation, creativity, daily 3, whatever. So I was tackling it through that. And I was telling people, I'm not doing great with the dog. I need help with the dog. So friends were, taking the dog for breaks. And I couldn't really put my finger on, why I was having a hard time with the dog. Because whenever my friends would be with the dog, they'd be like, that dog is so amazing. We love that dog, sweetest dog. And I'm like, yeah, actually, he is the sweetest dog. So, yada yada. I try all the perimenopause stuff. That's still not working. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's something with my ex, because that's my ever-present thing. I'm maybe I need to do another layer of, or maybe it's about my childhood, or maybe it's about my religious trauma. So I start another round of EMDR with my therapist. I'm I feel like I am a problem. I need to be punished. I'm having self-harm urges coming back. What the fuck is going on? And she's like, great, let's do another round of EMDR. I increased my therapy from every other week to weekly. I go into the advanced track of my DBT class that I've been in for ages. I'm throwing everything I've got at this, okay? It progresses. I start feeling so stressed out, so anxious, feeling this one morning, I'm I can't get out of bed. I can chug on anxiety for a long time. I have a PhD in driving myself with the power of my own anxiety, and getting progressively more self-harm urges, and suicidal thinking, and I can last there for a long time. For it to get to depression, it takes a lot. It is rare for it to get to depression because I'm like so have so much pressure on myself to like do the right thing, and laying in bed is like not one of those things in the schema that I was raised with. So I found myself not wanting to get out of bed and not being able to get out of bed. And then I found myself even doing the thing that I did a lot towards the end of my marriage, which was like hiding in bed, like pretending to sleep so that no one could need me or interact with me. And I was like, oh God, this has really gone way farther than I expected it to. And in like a lightning bolt moment, the dog was barking. My kid was freaked out by the dog barking. And I was like, it's the dog. It's the dog. Like, I cannot handle having the dog. And it was so clear. And I had, several therapy sessions about it. And my therapist was like, I just want to make sure you're not making an emotional decision, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, no, it's the dog. And I was finally able to clarify through a lot of my own, like, parts work journaling and working with my therapist. This is what's happened. For my whole life, until the divorce, I was in a scenario where there was somebody else who I could try to make feel good, that I could try to take care of, that I could like focus on instead of myself. And so I was thinking like, oh, this is like major indicator that my codependency is such that it got better for the past several years because I had this forced separation from humans when my kid would go over to my ex's house. And so it's like I became less codependent just because the codependency option was removed. And then you put a dog in, and the dog's with me all of the time, and I then have someone else to focus on. And when I have someone else to focus on, I can't focus on myself. So all my own sanity, like my own autonomy, goes down the drain, and I become progressively more anxious and depressed and suicidal because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die because I can't take care of myself, because I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't whatever, because I'm having to make sure this other being can do all of those things. And I can't do the two at once. And I was like, okay, this is another layer of codependency, and I've only like gotten better because I was forcibly removed from the option. So now I want to tackle it so that I cannot be codependent when somebody's with me. But then, and it's so interesting, right? Because it's like the pathologizing of all these things, and the like, oh, you're codependent, so don't be codependent. And it's like, maybe I'm autistic, and maybe that's not borderline or codependent or any of these other things that are like, sound like I could work harder or try harder or be better, and then I wouldn't have those things. So this woman's video is on how when she is if anyone else is in the house, like whether they're talking to her or needing anything from her or not, she can't access her full brain. Like she's sort of in like a standstill, like doesn't have access to her brain when some other being is in the house. And she said for her it was anyone except she was able to access her full brain with her cat. So good for her. It doesn't apply to animals, but I definitely am like, that's what it is. I cannot access. Hold on, I'm walking by people again. Hello. When there is anybody who is in the vicinity, like my full brain doesn't work, and therefore I can't figure out what I need, how to give it to myself. Like even just now, my kid has 2 friends over, and I'm like aware that I need to eat something. I am hungry and I would like lunch, but I couldn't figure out how to do that until they had all of the lunch that they needed and all of the dishes were done. And I usually take my walk first thing in the morning, but this morning my kid wanted his friends to come over. So I was like, okay, no problem. We'll go get them first. And then I was like, I need to go pick up some food for them to have lunch. So I went and did that. And then I got back and made them all lunch. So I still haven't gone on my walk. So I think that my brain feels like the walk is supposed to come before lunch because that is how I always do it. And so I'm like, I really want to eat lunch, but I don't feel like I can until after I go on a walk. So that might be partially like some routine rigidity, some like this is the way we do it, so this is how I have to do it. And then that could be partially that they all were like present and I was like, they need their thing and then I can have the thing. And I am not saying there is not codependency in there, because there is definitely codependency in there. But I just find it so fascinating that like the more people share about these things, the more we're able to recognize like, okay, this is just like a thing. Like the way somebody's mind works. It's not a diagnosis. It's not a character flaw. They shouldn't like work harder to make it better. They can recognize it and then they can support themselves. So like, you know, what can I do? Like, I mean, let's take today as an example. What could I have done differently? I think basically I couldn't have done anything differently. And that what I can do now is continue to understand and appreciate what are the things that are happening so that I can be more gracious with myself. Because previously I would have been like, see, codependency, like you need to fucking read another book and do another EMDR session. And now I can be like, okay, look, autism, or your brain, like this is you, here you are. How can we gently, lovingly acknowledge this was a little bit stressful, and maybe you want to have a really nice lunch when you get home and give yourself a break in your room while the kids are playing downstairs, and you can just totally have a break about you. And I can also acknowledge like, oh my God, I am not a terrible, horrible monster for having to admit like I could not take care of that dog. I don't have the skills. Maybe I won't have the skills ever. Maybe I will at some point have the skills. Either way, I wasn't okay. And it is actually okay to say you can't be a dog owner. I didn't like put him on the street. We found a beautiful family for him and he is like so lovingly cared for. But I don't even have to say like I'm not okay and that's why I can't take care of a dog. I could just say I tried being a dog owner, it didn't work out for me, and that's okay, so I changed my mind. Like I was with another friend who got a dog for her kids and then realized she couldn't do it. And she told me yesterday, she's like, yeah, I just told him like, hey, this isn't working. We're giving the dog away. Life is full of loss. Deal with it. And I'm like, wow, that's an option? Like, I thought I had to crucify myself if I cannot do something. I thought I have to be literally dying, suicidal. Even if I am suicidal, I should figure out how to do it and not be suicidal. Like, what? So there are options, people, to just be so much more gracious. And if you're a person who's ever had a session with me, you know, I bet you're like, wow, you are the most like, everything's okay. Like, you do not have to crucify yourself to everyone else. And why are you doing that to yourself? It's because we teach what we need to learn. Oh my gracious. So anyways, I'm feeling like delighted to find out that there is a community of people who relate to me, who have shared experiences with me, who I can feel less guilty about being me. I can feel less critical of myself and less like, I've also been thinking of this word this morning, sanitized. Like, I feel like we're like trying constantly to sanitize ourselves. Oh, it was because I was listening to a Lady Gaga interview and she was talking about like, they were saying something like about her new CD, what is it called? Album. And how they were like, how do you not let the chaos take over? And she's like, sometimes you need to let the chaos take over. And I'm like, yeah, who said there was not supposed to be chaos? Who said everything was supposed to be so sanitized and we're all supposed to be like sitting on the beach with remote jobs that we're passionate about with $1 billion and feeling happy and healthy and never gonna die? What? Who said that makes sense? That does not make sense given the situation that I see around me every day. That doesn't make sense. So I just want to let us all be like messier. And I feel like a lot of people think the SSP or the RRP or the parts work or the EMDR, that all of it is so that we can then not have any more problems and we can just be nice and happy all the time. But actually, the SSP and the nervous system work is so that we can feel safe and competent when things are a mess. So that we can be like, yeah, I don't need to beat myself up when things go in a difficult or challenging way or an unexpected way. And I don't need to beat anyone else up. I can just be like, oh yes, this is a part of the program of being a human on Earth in 2025. Things don't go your way. And I can be okay when things don't go my way. That is my goal. I can be okay when things don't go my way. My goal is not for things to always go my way. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are on that train, but I'm not on that train because it just doesn't feel true to me right now, and I don't have evidence of it for my life. And when I'm with that message, the like, well, if your life is shit, it's because you chose it, do better, I just feel bad about myself, and I'm done feeling bad about myself. Like, who is that helping? Who is that helping? Okay, that is my rant for today. I am very happy and relieved that we have transitioned the dog, and I am finding out the fact that I am not happy as a dog owner is not because I'm bad, not because I messed up, not because I need to do more personal work, because I just is not a good fit for me, and that's okay. And my kid got to have his feelings, and I'm supporting him with his feelings, and he can go visit the dog whenever he wants because it's just down the road, and the dog is like being showered with love and adoration by this other family, and it's all good. Everybody's okay, even when they're not okay. Love you.